All right. Welcome back. Hey, Outer Friends, how's it going? All good here. No worries. Sorry I had to run off earlier, but yeah, took care of something that just needed to be taken care of right away. So that's why I had to run off. Sorry about that, but everything's all good. We're gonna be back in action with the Bretonnia versus the Tomb Kings. So Shetland Apache versus Chief. Shetland Apache, of course, is going to be taking Bretonnia against Chief's Beastmen, so definitely in for a good time. I was just showing you guys the brackets. I was actually talking through before I realized my mic was still muted, so thanks, Hydro France, for pointing that out. I definitely did not realize, but yeah, it's been a lot of upsets today, is what I was saying with the brackets. You know, Mixa beating Onjaga, I mean, you could call it a bit of an upset. Mix is a very good player, and, you know, it's not... You know, if anyone could take down Onjaga, Mixa would be one of the people who definitely could. So, yeah, it's been interesting. Shetland Apache's been doing very well. Yeah, he's the host of many of the tournaments that happen, so he doesn't get to play in the tournaments because he's administrating and, you know, doing things. And so in this Total War Fantasy League, because J-Dog's the one putting it on, it allows Shetland the opportunity to play, and he's been doing very well for himself. So let's go ahead and take a look. Shetland's Bretonnia looks like he's got the Fey Enchantress, Rock and Earth Blood, and Regrowth. No lore attribute, interestingly enough. Just trying to cut some cost there, but he does have Miss Lady, obviously. No favor of the Fey either, which is very interesting. So really trying to just cut cost on the Fey Enchantress. Got 3 polearms men-at-arms with the Grail Relic in the center. Couple of Spearmen at Arms kind of defending their flanks. 4 units of Grail Guardians, which very interesting pick against the Beastmen. These guys don't have an anti-large bonus. They don't have the best charge bonus. They do have 56 melee defense, 120 armor, perfect vigor, and physical resistance, but they're not going to be the best at killing, you know, armored infantry, I wouldn't think. Maybe Questing Knights would be better at that, but I'm interested to see how Shetland uses them here. Looks like to be doing kind of a old school Death Star Bretonnia, just layering these guys on top of the Fey Enchantress with the Halberds and the Grail Relic holding everything together. He does have these two Grail Guardians split out in a mobile position on the far side. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Beastmen. So for Chief here, he's got Malagor the Dark Omen, backed up by double Gorble. Looks like Malagor is carrying Savage Dominion, so definitely looking to be summoning up some Cygors. And I believe he also has, Vile Tide for that Vigor Refresh to use up the extra Winds of Magic. He's got the front line of some Meat Shield Ungor Spearman Herd. We've got 4 of them. We've got 4 Bestigor Herd, which is pretty standard. 3 Gore Herds with shields, 2 Centigors with throwing axes. And that's pretty much it. So fairly straightforward Beastman build. Really heavy on the infantry. Interested to see how this Death Star versus Beast Rush build works. But you can see things are kicking underway. Oh, good. I have forgot the screen blocker. I am doing so good at this, guys. Anyway. Yes, guys, I am really on top of my game today, as you can tell. But anyway, we are going to be kicking things off here. These Centigors with throwing axes going to be pushing out onto the flanks. You can see Shetland's doing a very good thing here, and he's deployed all on this dry ground here. Only a few of Chief's forces are out on the swampy ground, but they're probably both going to want to take this engagement on the flatter, drier ground, because the infantry will suffer major debuffs from fighting in the marshes here. So Shetland just pushing forward, going to be immediately just riding in with these Grail Guardians, charging in. They'll be able to do some nice damage to the lightly armored spears, and then immediately pulling away. Again, getting a nice side charge on the spears is going to negate their bracing bonus and you know, do quite a bit of damage to them. Grail Guardians will be very good against lightly armored troops, but they don't have the most charge bonus, so they're not going to do a ton of shock damage. They're more meant as a sustained combat type unit, but you can see the Fey Enchantress has got in here as well. She's applying that Mortis Engine effect, and the Ungor Raiders as well, you know, being caught out a little bit here. But dropping an Earthblood right off the bat on those Grail Guardians to just keep them healing. Any damage they do take that gets through that physical resistance and high melee defense is going to be immediately negated here. So very well played so far. You can see he's just kind of using these guys all in a big blob together and just kind of pushing through, getting back towards the infantry center. And looks like Cygor is going to be summoned up right in the center. I'm not sure about this play here. The Cygor does not have the best combat stats, has relatively low armor, and all the Grail Guardians are immune to psychology baseline, so they're not going to be terror routed. Perhaps he's just looking for a bit of extra armor piercing damage, but it does look like the Cygor is going to be coming in, trying to get some stomps on the back of those Grail Guardians there, who are starting to take a few losses here. A lot of the peasant infantry hasn't really been engaged too much. The spearmen out here on the side are being mopped up by Bestigor herd and these Ungor spearmen herd here. And yeah, Gore herds will do very well against these peasants, as will the Bestigor herd, but obviously with these Grail Guardians sitting on top of them, just taking a lot of this damage, it's going to be a very tough fight for the Beastmen. I'm interested to see how things go. Obviously, the Fanchantress needs to be in melee for that, the favor, not the favor of the Fae, the Mist of the Lady effect here to actually, you know, be... for it to be going, she has to be in melee. So she's going to be standing in here doing her little Kamehameha blasts and, you know, blasting some of these Beastmen. But you can see Gorbel is coming through here. He's trying to get onto these Grail Guardians, but Shetland Apache doing a really good job just sitting right on top of these pole arms here. Gorbel's not going to like that, so he's pulling away, doing exactly what he should. But the Beastmen also doing exactly what they should, which is wrap up the sides and start to just bring in a full surround here. That's the only way they're going to be able to cut through this Grail Guardian Death Star here. You can see the healing effects going off with the kind of green effects on the Grail Guardians. They're going to be healing them, keeping them all relatively healthy. They're all above 75% HP, more or less. This one's the lowest, and right at about 75% HP. Vestigor herd, though, on this side have taken almost no damage here. Vestigor herd in the center are slowly being worn down, actually. In fact, I can't even locate their unit card. Yeah, here's this guy here. They've got about 60% HP. This other one here hasn't taken too much damage, but the Grail Guardian's now taking a little bit more of a mobile role, kind of ping-ponging around between these different targets here. You can see the Gorbels are coming around back for a second charge. It looks like they're going to be just bypassing the pole arms here. Shetland, though, dispatching one unit with an attack order on these Gorbels here. They're going to be pinned in place by the Grail Guardians, and both of them are going to start taking attacks in the backs. These brave peasants are going to be poking them right in the thighs with their halberds here. Now he's pulling back away, and again, just cycling back and forth between targets here. You know, you do want to take advantage of that 38 charge bonus, even though it's not great for a cavalry unit. They're not a shock cavalry by any means. You still want to try and take advantage of that and the impact damage from their mass as much as possible. That being said, a lot of the peasant infantry is starting to falter here in the center. You can see the polearms just not able to hold up. The Ungor Raider fire actually super clutch here because the Men-at-Arms with polearms only have 30 armor and no missile block chance. They're going to be very vulnerable to this non-armor piercing missile fire here. So it's a very good game so far. Things are slightly in the Beastmen's favor, if anything, but let's see. And yeah, the Mist of the Lady, though, is going to be perpetually draining these guys. So the longer this fight drags on, the more it's going to start to favor the Bretonnians. Like, I unfortunately can't see how much Winds of Magic the Fanchantress has left, but we've seen at least one Cygor summon out of the Beastmen. So, you know, it's really interesting to see how things shake up. They're starting to come back towards the center for the Bretonnians as the drain effect is just getting real right now. You can see one Bestigor herd is pretty much dead. Only 500 hit points and 13 unit models. I'll be very surprised if they come back and do anything, you know, effective. A lot of the Beastmen infantry at this point is getting very, very low. You can see the Mist of the Lady just continuously plugging away, and even though the Grail Guardians don't have great armor piercing values, they did get a buff to their AP in the last patch. So if we go ahead and take a look at the spread on Grail Guardians here, they have 23 weapon damage and 12 armor piercing. So 12 armor piercing is pretty decent, actually. You know, anything above 10 is going to be okay. They'll make decent contact, especially in a sustained fight like this, where they can use that high melee defense and get healing from the Fanchantress. They're able to pin these guys in place and protect the Fanchantress to a degree where she can sit in sustained melee combat, where she's not really, that's not her role, right? She's not a melee-focused character, but she needs to be sitting in melee to proc that Mist of the Lady effect. So he's going to have to be a little bit careful here not to get caught out too far away from support. It does look like he's trying to take advantage of the Fanchantress speed to get over here, but there are some Centaurs and some other units around, so it's a little bit of a dangerous gambit here. It looks like Shetland Apache is going to be pulling back towards the center of the fight there very wisely, but yeah, Grail Guardians in a few cases are getting very, very low. These Grail Guardians, only 11 unit models, 16 here. A very nice Vile Tide just busting up that peasant blob, doing a lot of damage to the peasants. Be curious to see how many kills Malagor's been able to rack up with those Vile Tides. Only 15 so far, but you know, pretty decent. The Centaurs have used up all their ammunition, though. They're going to be charging in for a desperate rear charge here. It does look like to be favoring the Bretonnians after all this. Just the drain effect, and as I was saying, that sustained combat really favors these Grail Guardians, and the Halberds as well have decent melee defense at, you know, 47, which is pretty considerable considering they're a lowly, filthy peasant unit. So, yeah, it's going to be hard. It's pretty much just Malagor left. He hasn't taken too much damage yet, but once those Grail Guardians get a circle beat on him, a little bit of a miss on that Vile Tide. Probably wanted it to hit right on this corner of these men-at-arms with polearms here, but it is still going to refresh the vigor of all these troops. You can see the Ungor Raiders tired, whereas a lot of the Bretonnian units are going to be exhausted. Obviously, the Grail Guardians are immune to vigor here, which is incredibly powerful in a late-game scenario like this. Yeah, you can see Malagor's just getting ransacked by Bretonnians here. Fanchantress is showing him her cool tricks, showing him how to cast, you know, melee spells and all that jazz, so... Malagor is not going to be too happy here. Starting to take a lot of damage, so the leadership is faltering, and it does look to be turning in the favor of Bretonnia. So, very contrary to the last patch where the Beastmen were very much kings of the corral, the Beastmen have been able to bring it back for the lady here and pretty much take the day. So, very well played to both players. Super cool match. So, yeah. That'll be game. Well played. Well played. GG, both of you. Alright, so for Shetland, man, those Grail Guardians, look at the kills on these guys. That's super legit. 162, 154, 146, 159. Man, those Grail Guardians, just with the sustain, healing, and the Mist of the Lady, and just that Death Star playstyle. You know, I haven't seen that since the Bretonnia patch of Warhammer 1, so you know, I'm not personally a big fan of that style of play, but it's cool to see, you know, it's definitely a unique style of play, so something we haven't seen in quite a while. But yeah, very well played. Alright, so if we take a look at the bracket here, we should be going to the final now. And I'm not sure if the others have finished their series yet. Let me go ahead and check J-Dog's channel. I'm actually going to drop a link in the chat for J-Dog's Twitch channel. If you guys haven't, go toss him a follow. He's the organizer of the tournament and is, of course, going to be live streaming a lot of the games. So he is currently casting Iron General versus Migsa. So it looks like they've played one game so far. They're just about to start on game 2. So maybe I'll try and join in and cast that one as well. Let's see here. You know what? We're just gonna watch J-Dog. How about this? Since you can't host from YouTube to Twitch, we're just gonna watch J-Dog stream on here. Is that cool with you guys? You guys cool with that?
Yeah, it's something we've talked
Yeah,
about.
Ponky Boy. Shetland won 2-1. It was a 3-game series, I believe, but a very good series.
Keep that thought in your head. So yeah, for the Wood Elves here, we have Iron General, and he has brought us one unit of Way Watchers. We have 2 units of Wild Riders. We then have 3 units of Glade Guard Starfire Shafts. We have 1 unit of...
Yeah, Bretonnia, they're coming back, man. Bretonnia is, and it's interesting, kind of as the patches roll on, and this is something that I noticed even in the Mortal Empires patches, is that as the patch kind of rolls on, and we get later and later into the patch, the meta develops over the course of the patch and changes over that time, and people find new builds, they find new synergies and new ways of doing things. So it's very interesting, you know, and it's going to be interesting to see in this patch in particular how the meta develops in terms of the Tomb Kings, the changes that have made to a little bit tongue-tied, the changes that have been made to Bretonnia and the Empire and other factions. The Wood Elves clearly are #1 right now in terms of the old world factions. They may even be the #1 faction in the game, but yeah.
They are going to receive some fire here, though. Over on this flank, though, the war dancers are here with the spears, but they've completely abandoned their starfire shafts, and they're about to get completely mullered by these.
Yeah, before I started my channel, I played a lot of games in Warhammer 1, especially from the Bretonnia patch on. I played pretty much every day a lot of ladder games, and I managed to play against quite a few of these tournament players a few times, and that's one of the reasons why I started my channel, is because I really enjoyed playing these high-level players. But as the patches roll on, you know, you lose those replays. You can't go back and watch them because they're for an older version of the game, right? They don't work anymore. So basically, the idea of starting the channel was that I wanted to be able to go back and watch those games for myself, right? And if other people wanted to watch them, that's cool too. And it's really blown up in a way that I never had anticipated, so it's been really cool so far. And I'm starting to realize I could potentially maybe even do this as a job someday. I don't know. I would love to get there, but I would definitely need your guys' help. But yeah, I mean, I'm in no rush. I have a good day job. It's not like I need money or anything, but and I have a day job that I enjoy. It's, you know, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but I've had worse jobs for sure, and it's fulfilling in a way, and I definitely enjoy it. So yeah, we'll go full screen.
On this side, we have pretty much everything is on the route here. It's either on the route or running. We've got the dragon coming down here.
Yeah, the Wood Elves are super powerful. Way Watchers, I'm going to be doing some testing videos here within the next week or two on Way Watchers, and they're broken. Like, they're crazy broken. They're way too good. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, four Way Watchers can pretty much with one volley kill most units in the game. Shielded, unshielded, large, infantry, doesn't matter. A black market vape dealer? I'm sorry, Hydrofrance. It's not quite that that edgy or glamorous, unfortunately. Looks like Iron General is probably going to be taking this. Maybe not. The Dark Elves are actually bringing it back. It's a tough matchup. The Wood Elves, the buffs to Sisters of Thorn were pretty significant as well, and I'm surprised I haven't seen more Sisters of Thorn in the tournament. I haven't actually seen very many people bring them at all, and they're actually one of my favorite units on the Wood Elves roster. But I do not have a Twitch channel. No, I stream primarily on YouTube because that's where my audience is. I make YouTube videos, so I know of people that have, you know, kind of hybridized channels where they stream on Twitch and then they do videos on YouTube, but I figure it's just easier for you guys to keep it all in one place. And I mean, I can already get sponsorships and donations through YouTube, so there's not really a benefit in me going to Twitch. So
the archers are trying to relieve some of this damage, but
yeah, it looks like the Dark Elves are actually going to carry this one, so the series is going to go 1-1 here. Yes, Victor, they're broken. I actually am probably not going to be playing the Wood Elves that much because they're kind of overpowered.
So very well played from both players there. It was a pretty good match. Was over rather quickly though, and the Dark Elves just kind of curb stomping the Wood Elves right in the face, you know.
Yeah, that Wood Elf build, it's interesting. I personally would much rather bring Sisters of Thorn than Wild Riders because they can do a similar amount of shock damage to infantry and melee. They're not as good, but they can kind of hang around. They can do a similar role. But they have the missile attack, they have the buff spells, they're a menace to heavy cavalry because they have solid missile damage. They don't have a ton of AP, it's not primarily AP, but they do have a decent amount of AP, and it's poison, so they're just the bane of heavy cavalry. So I'm very interested that Wild Riders, for me personally, I would have traded those two Wild Riders out for Sisters of Thorn, but that's just me.
Yeah, Migs are pulling out a rather large but very good army there. Well then, two Migs are picking up that round. Let's change that one to 1. Well done everyone that did.
And let's see here.
So you come away with a few more meme coins. like to bet. If you want to check your meme coins, guys, you get 10 every 4 minutes. You get 4 every 10 minutes, sorry. Exclamation mark meme. And it will show you your points.
Alright, alright.
Yeah, we are going to be going into an ace game here between Iron General and Mixer in this...
So it looks like this is going to be game 3 between these two. And yeah, I might actually just go jump into the lobby now if I can. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and just put this over here and turn that off. And let's see. If I can guess the password, we can get in here. Can I guess the password? I can guess the password. Alright, we're in. So, I am indeed a hacker. Elite hacks. Elite hacks, guys. So I'll put up the army blocker, and I'll definitely remember to take it off this time. Alright, alright, alright. I guess I should probably change the name of the stream, because it's not actually Shetland versus Chief anymore. I wonder if it'll mess it up if I change it while the stream's going. Let's try, for science. Let's see, it's now Iron General versus Migsa. Okay, I think it's good. Just getting through the faction picks and bans right now, so just waiting on those things. This is going to be Hellfen again because it's the same. This is a semi-final match. It's again game 3 of the same round, so it's going to be fought on the same map. So yeah, we're going to be fighting on Hellfen once again. Interested to see how things play out here. And since they changed the deployment zones on Hellfen, you don't really have to fight in the swamp as much as you used to. You still can potentially, but. Yes, indeed. All right. Did Marathi splash a turd with her feet? That's a good question. Let me look at that. In that screenshot, it's kind of hard to see her feet. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It looks like it might be clipping through the barding on the horse or something. I have no idea. But something's going on with her foot, that's for sure. Alright, so it looks like we're going to have a Tomb King's mirror match. So, probably going to see some interesting things here. This is actually one of the more interesting mirror matches in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of mirror matches personally, but the Tomb King's mirror is a pretty interesting one. Wonder if we'll see either of them go with the followers of Nagash here to try and get those extra units. The two strongest races right now? Right now, I would say the Wood Elves and the Dark Elves. If I had to pick right now. Yeah, Wood Elves and Dark Elves. Tomb Kings are just below them, I think. They're like the number 3 or 4 faction, probably. Beastmen are still up there. They're kind of, you know, in that same boat as Tomb Kings. But definitely, oh, Lizardmen, of course, too, are Lizardmen, Dark Elves, and Wood Elves. Wood Elves are number 1, Dark Elves number 2, and I would give Lizardmen number 3. Wood Elf builds, Way Watchers are really good right now. Their infantry is super cost effective across the board. They have a lot of long range skirmishers that are very powerful. They have the best light cavalry in the game, in my opinion. Except, there's an argument to be made about Centaurs, but Sisters of Thorn and Wild Riders both are amazing. So they're a high skill floor and a high skill ceiling faction, in that I think that it takes a good amount of micro to be good with them. I mean, obviously everyone can hit Prevanathrema and hit you with 4 Way Watchers and kill whatever they're shooting at, but the greenskins are I'm not going to answer that one because I don't know enough yet. I haven't played enough games with or against them in this particular patch. Previously, I would have said they're tier 2, maybe tier 2.5. They really struggle in some matchups right now, but I actually had a really good game. I was playing as the Tomb Kings, which I think the Tomb Kings are a rough matchup for the greenskins, definitely. But I was playing as them, and I had a greenskin player who beat me, and I'm going to be showing that game either tonight or tomorrow. I haven't decided. He had a really good build, so I'm going to show it off and kind of talk about that matchup a little bit in more detail. But yeah, the greenskins are suffering a little bit right now. They need some TLC from CA, that's for sure. I am probably going to be going through and making a series of videos about what changes I would make to the greenskins. Blackguard or Executioners, depends on the matchup. Depends on the matchup. Blackguard against the Tomb Kings and the Lizardmen, and probably the High Elves and Bretonnia, obviously. I'd go with the Blackguard. Against the Empire, maybe the Blackguard, maybe the Hargoneth Executioners. Same thing with Chaos. I'm not really sure what to say in that matchup, but it kind of depends on the matchup. Typically, I like Blackguard a little bit better, because they are more utilitarian unit. They have immunity to psychology. They have charge defense against large, anti-large. So they still have heavy armor and heavy AP, so they can do okay against infantry, especially low-tier infantry. But the cavalry will kill off Way Watchers if you can catch them. But the problem is, for a lot of factions, you can't effectively catch them. And even then, they're not pushovers in melee. And, like, let's say you get hit with some poison, and then the Way Watchers, because they can fire in 360, like let's say you have some Reichsguard, for example. They have 66 speed, which is not super fast. It's actually on the low end for heavy cavalry, but if you're chasing them, they get hit by that poison. The Way Watchers are already decently fast. If I remember right, they have in the area of, like, 45 or so speed. But they just they're really tough, you know. They do a ton of damage, and they have stalk and they have snipe, which means they stay hidden while they're firing. So you have to, first of all, spot them. Then you have to get past the Wild Riders and the, you know, anti-large armor piercing units that are likely guarding them, like, you know, War Dancers with Azrai Spear or Eternal Guards. Then you're gonna have to, you know, catch them and then kill them. And they're not complete pushovers in melee. They don't have great combat stats, but they have decent combat stats. So it's hard. I mean, yes, you can kill Way Watchers with cavalry. That is the way to do it, but it's hard. It's not easy. The Empire to be boosted, you know, I'm not really sure. you know, if they could fix the line of sight issues on handgunners, I think that would go a long way to making the Empire viable again. Even still, I think the Empire is pretty viable. I've seen them taken in a few tournament games, and I've been playing a bit recently with them myself, and they're pretty decent. Outriders are a underrated unit. They got a wider fire arc, so they're going to be a little bit better. The Outriders with grenade launchers I need to try out too. I think they might actually be okay, which would be interesting. Reichsguard getting more AP was really nice. Flagellants are kind of a meh unit. A lot of the infantry for the Empire is kind of meh, but great swords got a tiny little buff, so you know it can potentially help. Yeah, the handgunners, and if they could increase the accuracy of the Empire cannons, the Great Cannon, I think that would help as well. I think those two things would be the biggest things you could do to help the Empire. The buffs to Karl Franz were awesome as well. I don't know if any of you guys have played with the new Karl Franz, but he has much better weapon strength. Just overall, he's a better duelist than any other Empire Lord, which he should be. I mean, he should be the killy, you know, go kill the other lord type lord for the Empire. That's the role that he needs to fill, and he hasn't really filled that role up until now. So, yeah, he's decent. Chaos is still very strong. Yeah, Chaos is, you know, they were pretty bad in the beginning of Game 1, but since about the Bretonnia patch, they've been a powerhouse. You know, Norska should be coming in May if Creative Assembly is to be believed, but. Alrighty, and we are now loaded in, so let's go ahead and change to the battle screen here. Well, it looks like we're not all quite loaded in yet. I know, Hydro France, it's a shameful display, that's for sure. Okay, sorry, got briefly distracted by something. Let's go ahead and take a look at the army compositions. So, for Iron General here, we've got Arkan the Black, a Necrosphinx, an Arkan's on foot. We've got the Necrosphinx, Regiment of Renown, of course, with the flaming and magic attacks. 2 Ushabti in the center with a couple Bow Ushabti. Or no, actually, that's Sepulchral Stalker. Actually, the Regiment of Renown Sepulchral Stalker, who actually has stock. So, interesting unit. The anti-large armor piercing should be good here. I'm interested to see how those guys do. We've got a front line of Tomb Guard, Skeleton Spears, another Tomb Guard, or a Skeleton Warrior in the center, and another Tomb Guard out on the flank. For the other player's build here, for Mixa, we've got Cetra the Imperishable, again, the Regiment of Renown Necrosphinx, Tomb Prince on a Chariot. We've also got a Necrotect, 1 unit of Skelly Archers. We've got in the front line 3 Skeleton Spearmen. Oh, whoops, I forgot. I'm not supposed to draw because J-Dog's actually casting this as well. Let's see. We've got 2 Ushabti with great bows. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Fairly straightforward. A couple, yeah, it's just Skeleton Warriors, Skeleton Spears. So, you guys ready for the Kaiju battle? You ready for the Necrosphinx on Necrosphinx action? We've also got Cetra on his War Sphinx here, which Cetra's item also gives him flaming attacks, so again, he's going to be very good in a Tomb Kings on Tomb Kings duelist situation. So let's see how things go. I'm super interested to watch this. You guys may have seen the mirror match I put up on the channel recently, and it's yeah, like I said, I don't like mirror matches a lot, but this is one of the mirror matches that I find more interesting, so it's definitely one that I enjoy watching and I enjoy playing. So we're kicking things off here. Going to be both meeting, both players interestingly deploying partially in the swamp here. I would think, again, I keep forgetting I'm not supposed to draw, it's just force of habit. Yeah, oh man, it's it's just habit. Sorry, guys. Anyway, but yeah, you can see they're going to be pushing up. It's interesting that both players have deployed partially in the swamp here because it means their infantry is going to be a lot less effective. I would think that both players would want to kind of deploy in this section here and fight on the dry ground, but you know, it's a bit of give and take. I mean, they do all have a lot of large units as well, so the large units obviously won't mind fighting in these swamps at all. But man, these sepulchral stalkers are just super cool looking. They're a very interesting unit. They're kind of weird in that they have like a missile attack that I haven't found to be wildly effective. They have charge defense against large and anti-large armor piercing. Like, it's a weird unit. They're kind of a weird niche, but they're cool looking, and I have had them be mildly useful in a few games, so I'm interested to see how they do here. It does look like the Great Bow Ushabti are going to be opening up shots on them, which is a very wise target. The forces of Arkan the Black advancing across the mire here are going to be going up and over the top. And we can see the Necrosphinx on the far side looking to be probably mirroring this other Necrosphinx. Cetra does not want to duel that particular creature because he is flammable, has that 25% weakness to fire, and the Regiment of Renowned Necrosphinx already does an insane amount of damage. If that thing gets a hold of Cetra, it's going to be a bad day for Mr. Imperishable here, but we'll see. It's going to be just a charge across the board. Mixa just kind of sitting back and letting Iron General get the charge on him a little bit here. The Ushabti will be great on the Skeleton Warriors. They're just going to just chop these bones to absolute pieces here. You can see the physical resistance buff from Arkan going up in the center. It's that Shield of the Old Ones type effect with the white magic instead of blue. Going to be giving all these units in this pocket here that dank physical resistance. We've got Ushabti doing very well, but here comes the Kaiju battle. The Necrosphinx going to be getting on Cetra here potentially. Come on. That was actually super underwhelming. Oh, matched animations, huh? Oh no, that wasn't exactly matched, but you can see the Necrosphinx on Necrosphinx action with Cetra in here, and the Necropolis, no, not Necropolis Knights, whatever these guys are, the Sepulchral Stalkers, they're also fighting in here, and it's just a wild, wild battle. You can see this Regiment around Necrosphinx was pulled back, but the Spirit Leech and everything on Cetra is doing a lot of damage here. The Sphinx coming around for another charge, hoping to get some attack animations directly on Cetra himself, and that is going to do a lot of damage there. You can see Cetra is down to about half HP, and basically the leadership battle is going to more or less decide the outcome of this battle, I think. The Ushabti front line for Iron General is doing much better and just cutting through the front line of Cetra's forces here, but unfortunately, Mixa, you know, it's rough, but things are still very even. It does look like we're going to get the Ushabti summon from Mixa's forces, so you can see the Realm of Souls. We can see the Realm of Souls for Iron General, and you can see how much further he is behind on the Realm of Souls, meaning that Mixa's forces have taken a lot more casualties, so it's been very, very rough. You can see another Spirit Leech going down, and interestingly enough, it is looking, the balance of power is looking to be turning in Mixa's favor there, probably because of the summoned Ushabti, but we're getting the Ushabti on Ushabti, the Necrosphinx, and all these monsters just wrapped up in this absolute monster mash here in the center, and these skeletons are just getting absolutely trampled underfoot, so yeah, you can see the Fate of Yuna effect going off from Cetra himself as that Liber Mortis is also popped from Arkan the Black, going to be giving them that, again, that physical resistance, a very, very strong item, so you definitely want to take that anytime you have Arkan the Black. The Chariot, though, has been able to clean up some action out here on the flanks. It's the Necrotech and these Skeleton Warriors pushing through, so the Sepulchral Stalkers, though, almost dead, and in terms of the Kaiju battle here, the Kaiju for Iron General has taken a lot more damage. He has been able to almost kill Cetra, but the Necrosphinx, the Kaiju for Mixa, is man, he's still perfectly healthy and looking very, very cool. Probably going to be charging into the other Necrosphinx over here. No, looks like this guy's got his paws on the Chariot Lord here, or the Chariot Prince rather. So he's going to be taking a lot of damage. Definitely doesn't want to stay in this fight. This guy looks like he's going after Arkan the Black. Unfortunately, because the Arkan the Black's on foot, he's not going to be subject to the anti-large bonus, and it's just going to get knocked around a whole lot. But if these bow Ushabti are able to fire in on him, they can potentially do a lot of damage. But it looks like this Necrosphinx has been enraged there by the ability, and is locked into combat with his counterpart here. And yeah, the Iron General's Necrosphinx is definitely going to crumble here, I think. Yeah, it's already crumbling now, and so it looks like the Kaiju battle will be won by Mixa, potentially. Cetra, where did Cetra get off to? Did Cetra actually go down? I think Cetra might have actually gone down, which would be devastating. Arcan's still alive. Nope, Cetra's still over here. Arcan looks like he's going to run in with the Flaming Sword, trying to get some attacks in there, but he's just a little too slow on foot to catch up with Cetra. That being said, the Summon Dushati just were pulled in here, and they're going to be doing a lot of armor-piercing damage here to Cetra, so we'll see. You know, it's still a very close battle, all things considered. The balance of power is still dead even, so really hard to say who's going to win at this point. The Necrosphinx is going to be a big pain to take down, though, for Iron General. I'm not sure he has the units left to do it. Losing his Necrosphinx was devastating, and that's the power of that Necrotech, man. If he gets a couple of heals on that Necrosphinx, he can get his value back super fast. So, yeah, it's tough to say. It's still very close, honestly. Cetra's desperately trying to get out of this fight, but Arcan and these Ushabti just slapping him right in the ass, and they're gonna be getting that good action. Is Cetra gonna fall here? I'm not sure. Looks like the Kaiju's coming in to try and bail him out here to take out these summoned Ushabti, but Cetra's crumbling, unfortunately, down to only 108 hit points, 97, 86, dropping rapidly. If he can stabilize his leadership, he can potentially survive here, but it doesn't look like he's going to, and Cetra goes down, so things starting to turn back in the favor of Iron General. Now the only thing is if he can kill this Kaiju here, the Sphinx of Usek. If he can kill it, that'll be a game. You know, that's pretty much all that's left. The Tomb Prince is helping to hold the leadership together, likewise with the Necrotech. But you know, the Great Bow Ushabti have been inundated by the melee Ushabti, which obviously they'll lose that fight because the melee variant has a higher armor-piercing weapon strength. So, yeah, a lot of the forces for for Mixa are going to be starting to crumble here. So, I think that Iron General's going to take this. So the final will be Iron General versus Shetland Apache. So let's see. Yeah, things are just turning more and more in Arcan's favor, and the Kaiju is starting to crumble. So the Sphinx of Uksef, just the leadership's not able to hold up here, being attacked from multiple directions. And, yeah, you know, I say that. It's back to wavering, so maybe he'll be able to pull this back. The Chariot Prince is still alive here. Somehow. He is debilitated. Critical binding. Looks like maybe he's going to start crumbling here. If Arcan can refresh his sword and get like 1 or 2 auto attacks onto the Tomb Prince here, he'll pretty much take him down. The Tomb Prince actually just crumbles there straight up. So I do think that is going to spell the end for Mixa, unfortunately. Played very well in this tournament. Eliminated the one and only Onjaga. But, yeah. I think it'll be a win for Arcan and for Iron General here. So very well played to both players. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. I am going to go ahead and end the stream after this battle, and if you guys want to watch the finals, go ahead and mosey on over to the channel of J-Dog on Twitch. He'll be able to show you that finals game. I'll let him take care of that. So go ahead, head on over there, toss him a follow if you feel so inclined. And yeah, we'll just kind of wait for this Sphinx to finish crumbling here. So, and down it goes. Well played to both players. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this series. I'm going to be putting this stream up as a video separately from the other one, so you guys can watch both. Thank you all for joining, and yeah, we will see you next time.